All right, so orientation. We'll introduce me and then introduce my classroom and then talk about the precautions we're taking to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So this is me and my family. This is my 6th year teaching. Previously, I've taught Algebra 1 and 2. I always teach geometry. Fun fact, I've taught geometry every single year I've been a teacher. And then I previously taught pre-calculus. I also am a private tutor for students in lower grades, but also in college. I've tutored as high as Calculus 1 in college. And then I also run the tutoring session for the PERT test, the dual enrollment entrance test to place in math. This is my family. I have an 8-month-old son, as you see in the corner. He's a happy guy. And then I have a 3-year-old daughter. She likes cupcakes, apparently, as you can see. When I'm outside of school, I really try to focus solely on my kids, and when I'm in school, I focus on yours. I will call them my kids, even after they've moved on, because that's how I view them. I believe that God has ordained and placed me here on purpose, and I love students, and I love the opportunity to teach them and be involved in their lives. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell. Let's look at my supply list. It's pretty self-explanatory. 2 packs of pens and 2 packs of pencils. 1 pack will be kept by the student and 1 pack will be kept by me. This is so in the middle of the year. The students whose backpack eats their pencils, they still have a pencil available that I can give them. Highlighters. I don't have a necessarily number or a color. I just recommend at least 2. We highlight in class. It would be helpful if they were 2 different colors, but it's not mandatory. We highlight in class to show pictures because this is geometry. We point out things in pictures, and it just makes things easier to visualize as a student. They will need 2 whiteboard markers and an eraser. I will use whiteboards pretty often in my class, and every student will need their own marker and eraser. Just for your own knowledge, we will clean those whiteboards every single class period that they're used. The last thing is a 4-function calculator. This is a basic calculator that you could find at the store. You can buy them at Walmart, Walgreens. I don't recommend the dollar store because you do want a little more quality, because if they break in the middle of the year, you'll have to go out to the store and purchase a new one, which is more of an inconvenience. But 4-function means it only has addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Some 4-function calculators still have a radical button. That is acceptable, but it cannot have more than these things. If you want to triple check that yours is okay, you can definitely send it to me, and I can send a picture of it, and I can let you know. Our supply check is on Friday, August 14th. However, if your supplies are checked on Monday or the Tuesday, August 11th, you can receive extra credit on your first quiz grade, which is the supply check. If you're virtual, you will still do a supply check. You'll just show me on your camera. So this is for either this little asterisk at the bottom. If you want to check it early, you need to mention it at the beginning or end of class, and I can take care of that for you. All right, which moves us into virtual learning. Sorry if I speed up and slow down. I have visitors who keep, I don't want to say interrupting, but pausing my video. Virtual learning. So whether you chose to do 9 weeks of virtual learning, or let's say you get a cold and you aren't sure if you have, COVID-19, or you are exposed to someone who has COVID-19. Either way, it's most likely at some point you will do a little bit of virtual learning. So to just address that, click on our Google Meet code in our Google Classroom. At our scheduled class time, I'll show you what our classroom looks like in a second. You'll follow along live, you'll be able to ask questions, and then you'll turn in your assignments virtually at the same time as the other students. You'll just do it through Google Classroom. At the end of every class hour, you'll take a photo of your notes and also turn it into the classroom. So let me go ahead and over to that and show you what that looks like. This is our classroom. This is my first hour. If you're a different class hour, yours will look pretty similar. Your Meet code, I don't know if you can see it flashing. It's right here. You'll click this. This is a link. You'll click it, and it will open up our live feed into our class. Down here is like a timeline. If you see the little green, it looks like a box kind of. It's actually a book, like an emoji. But if you see those are my own personal sources. My syllabus, my YouTube. This is actually a link you can click. Go straight to my YouTube. Big Ideas, this will have the link to the website that goes with our textbook, as well as our code, which is right here. This is for first hour, so don't click it in. I'm going to hide it. Don't click it because this is for one class and not all of them. So we'll go over that in class. If you're virtual, I'll go over that during your virtual introduction. Down here, classroom resources. This is a little school emoji to represent that it's the schools. It's how to work plus portals, and then our expectations of you and your conduct on Google Meet. Down here, I don't want to show you all of it, but I haven't decided how to name what we do in class. This is named Week 1. I don't know if I'll name it that or if I would name it Chapter 1 and continue with that. I haven't necessarily decided, but probably for at least the first week when we haven't started the math course yet, I'll name it, Week 1, so you know where to find things. So this is Google Classroom in a nutshell. Yours does look slightly different. Your grades would be under the grade tab. I don't think you have a people tab because that's for me to know who's in my class. But this is just the general gist. And hopefully you can just look around on there and get more acquainted. This is our homework and classwork section. It's 20% of your final grade. I actually prefer to do classwork and be able to help you. That's my main goal. If you don't finish classwork, then it would become homework. Homework and classwork is graded with grace, so it's -2 for every incorrect but attempted question. Geometry is different than algebra. Geometry may not have any arithmetic. So you may be given a picture that looks like this and say, name the line. And that would be the extent of the question. It would take you 2 seconds, you would name it, and then you would move on to the next one. So just be prepared for just noticing differences in algebra and geometry. We use late passes. They're a 1-day extension on a homework and classwork. I will show you these, but I'll give you more specific on how to use them. Every unused late pass, so let's say every single day for the whole quarter, you've done your classwork, or you finished the classwork as homework. Either way, you didn't need an extended day. This does not include absences, just so you know. This just includes you were in class for the assignment. Or online. Every unused late pass is worth 5 bonus points to the lowest quiz grade. A student must state if they intend on using their late pass before the answer key is presented for grading. This sounds like common sense, but I just have to say it. If the assignment is not turned in the following day, the late pass is still used. You will just be given a 0, or however much of the assignment was completed, it will be graded that way. But you will still use the late pass because you got the extended day to turn in the homework. And we'll talk more about that in class. Quizzes and notebook checks, they're 30% of the final grade. I don't really have much to say about quizzes. We have them. The lowest quiz grade is dropped at the end of every quarter. As for notebook checks, I think that's what we would spend more of our time with. They're due every test day. They need to be ready before the bell rings on a test day, so you can't be putting them together on the test day. You're not going to be physically handing me a notebook or binder, so your 3-ring binder will not be handed to me every test day. You will, however, staple together the provided list of completed notes, worksheets, and diagrams. Basically, the day before, probably 2 days before, really, it will say, I need 1.1 notes. I need 1.2 notes. I need 1.1 worksheet, whatever that looked like. I would have named it. I need your 1.1 to 1.2 quiz. And you will staple them together and receive a grade on a few things. And I'll show you that on this next slide. Interesting. Sorry, I don't know what just happened. The reason for this is you can look at the examples, the properties, and the definitions in this notebook check to help you review for your test. That's the goal. So it's a quiz grade. It's graded like this. If you look, there's an acronym you can remember, and it's CORN, C-O-R-N. Completed. Every note, handout, extra problem, and worksheet must be completed. Yes, even if you were absent. This is not a last minute, you're doing a bunch of notes and doing a bunch of worksheets. This is just me checking that you were following along. You were doing the notes, you were doing the worksheets. Even if you got a 0 on a worksheet or you didn't finish it at the time you turned it in, it needs to be finished for the notebook check so you can get a better grade on your quiz grade. Organized, it needs to be in the order I provided. Readable, the handwriting and notes needs to be visible. I've had people try to write in yellow and that just didn't work. Name on the top right corner. This gets a lot of people. Put your name on your notes. The top one will most likely say like 1.1 notes. You need to put your name in the top right corner. I will remind you, but some people still forget. And then the neatness, your hole punches need to be lined up to ensure that the pages fit in your binder. So CORN, C-O-R-N, this is on your syllabus if you need to refer. Tests are 50% of your final grade, and they're on Wednesdays unless otherwise told. And then this is the last portion, COVID-19 precautions. Our class sizes are small, so our desks are 6 feet apart. My biggest class is 15 students, and I think 5 of them are doing virtual learning. So we're all 6 feet apart, and whenever we are not 6 feet apart, let's say I need to come help you, both the student and I will have our masks on to prevent the spread of germs. You sanitize in and you sanitize out. We have hand sanitizer by the door, and you will be required to sanitize on your way in and on your way out. Your desks are wiped off every class hour, and so are those whiteboards that I was talking about earlier. And then they deep clean every night. They use this machine, and it smells wonderful, let me tell you. If any germs were left over, they're gone. Helpful reminders, no work, no credit on all problems that require work. Again, this is geometry. Some problems look like this, and they say name the line. Some problems, however, will have numbers, and you'll be required to show the work on that. It will be very obvious to you, and if not, I will go over that in class. I will put an ABS if they're absent, and it will register as a 0 until made up. Students have a day for a day. That's a school policy. On any assignment, quiz, or test, you'll need to coordinate with me to make up a quiz or a test. And then my last thing is how to survive my class. Utilize your time in class for help. I will walk around and help anyone. My favorite thing to do is to walk around and put check marks on questions, or I'll circle them and then try to address where you went wrong, or identify like a small math error, or just, plain old help you. It's my favorite thing to do. This is all I would do in help class. I would ask you what you struggle with, and we would go over problems like that, and I can, kind of help you. I use it as like a built-in tutoring. That's my help class. 3 to 3:45 on Fridays, because our quizzes are on Mondays, for the most part, and your tests are on Wednesdays. I do have a Kahoot. I make Kahoots for every single section. You'll look up TCA Marshall, or I could give you a Kahoot code. But it's great review. It's just extra problems. If you had struggled with a certain question, you can always screenshot it and then show it to me later. My office hours, this is mostly for online students. If you're in class, you can come see me during the day, but if you're trying to email me, I answer weekdays 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Again, to just utilize that time with my family and just have a winding down time. My YouTube is TCA Marshall. Again, I left that link on my Google Classroom, but if you need to look me up, just TCA Marshall. And then we will be using that Big Ideas website. I look forward to meeting you guys in person or virtually, and I hope that this answered a lot of questions that you had for my class. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have any further questions.